Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki
Jai.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text number 8. Nahi prapashyami mama panudyat. Nahi prapashyami mama panudyat. Yaschokam uchchosanam indriyanam. Yaschokam uchchosanam indriyanam. Avapya bhuma vahasatmam ridham. Avapya bhuma vapasatnam ridham. Rajyam suranam apichadipatyam. Rajyam suranam apichadipatyam. Nahi prapashyami mama punadyat. Yaschokam indriyanam. Avapya bhuma vapasatnam ridham. Rajyam shuranam apichadipatyam. Nahi prapashyami mama punudyat. Yaschokam uchchoshanam indriyanam. Avapya bhuma vapasatnam ridham. Rajyam shuranam apichadipatyam.
Nahi prapashyami mama panudyat.
Nahi prapashyami mama panudyat. Yachokamujjoshanamindriyanam. Avapya bhuma vasapatnam ridham.
Rajyam suranam apichadipatyam.
Rajyam suranam apichadipatyam.
Nahi prapashyami mama panudyat.
Nahi prapashyami mama panudyat.
Yachokamujjoshanamindriyanam.
Yachokamujjoshanamindriyanam.
Avapya bhuma vasapatnaruddham.
Avapya bhuma vasapatnaruddham.
Rajyam suranam apichadipatyam.
Rajyam suranam apichadipatyam.
Anyone else like to chant? Na, do not.
Do not.
He,
He
certainly.
certainly.
Prapashyami,
Prapashyami.
I see.
I see.
Mama,
Mama.
my.
Mine.
Apanudyat,
Apanudyat.
can drive away.
Can drive away.
Yet,
Yet
that which.
that which.
Shokam,
Shokam.
lamentation.
Lamentation.
Uchchoshanam,
Uchchoshanam.
drying up.
Drying up.
Indriyanam,
Indriyanam,
of the senses,
of the senses,
Avapya,
Abhapya,
achieving,
achieving,
Bhumau,
Bhumau,
on the earth,
on the earth,
Asapatnam,
Asapatnam,
without rival,
without rival,
Ridham,
Vidam,
prosperous,
prosperous,
Rajyam,
Rajyam,
kingdom,
kingdom,
Suranam,
Suranam,
of the demigods,
of the demigods,
Api,
Api,
even,
even,
Cha,
Cha,
also,
also,
Adipatyam,
Adhipatyam,
supremacy.
supremacy.
Translation: I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it, even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth, with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Although Arjuna was putting forward so many arguments based on knowledge of the principles of religion and moral codes, it appears that he was unable to solve his real problem without the help of the spiritual master, Lord Sri Krishna. He could understand that his so-called knowledge was useless in driving away his problems, which were drying up his whole existence, and it was impossible for him to solve such perplexities without the help of a spiritual master like Lord Krishna. Academic knowledge, scholarship, high position, etc. are all useless in solving the problems of life. Help can be given only by a spiritual master like Krishna. Therefore, the conclusion is that a spiritual master who is 100% Krishna conscious is the bona fide spiritual master, for he can solve the problems of life. Lord Chaitanya said that one who is a master in the science of Krishna consciousness, regardless of his social position, is a real spiritual master. Kiba vipra kiba nyasi sudra keninaye ye Krishna tadvaveta se guruhai. It does not matter whether a person is a vipra, a learned scholar in Vedic wisdom, or is born in a lower family, or is in the renounced order of life. If he is a master in the science of Krishna, he is the perfect and bona fide spiritual master. It's from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 8. So without being a master in the science of Krishna consciousness, no one is a bona fide spiritual master. It is also said in the Vedic literature, Sat karma nipuno vipro mantra tantra visharada avaishnavo guru nashyad vaishnava swapacho guru. A scholarly brahmana, expert in all subjects of Vedic knowledge, is unfit to become a spiritual master without being a Vaishnava or expert in the science of Krishna consciousness. But a person born in a family of a lower caste can become a spiritual master if he is a Vaishnava or Krishna conscious. From Padma Purana. The problems of material existence, birth, old age, disease and death cannot be counteracted by accumulation of wealth and economic development. In many parts of the world, there are states which are replete with all facilities of life, which are full of wealth and economically developed, yet the problems of material existence are still present. They are seeking peace in different ways, but they can achieve real happiness only if they consult Krishna or the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which constitute the signs of Krishna. Through the bona fide representative of Krishna, the man in Krishna consciousness. If economic development and material comforts could drive away one's lamentations for family, social, national or international inebrities, then Arjuna would not have said that even an unrivaled kingdom on earth or supremacy like that of the demigods in the heavenly planets would be unable to drive away his lamentations. He sought, therefore, refuge in Krishna consciousness, and that is the right path for peace and harmony. Economic development or supremacy over the world can be finished at any moment by the cataclysms of material nature. Even elevation into a higher planetary situation, as men are now seeking on the moon planet, can also be finished at one stroke. The Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Shine punye martyalokam vishanti. When the results of pious activities are finished, one falls down again from the peak of happiness to the lowest status of life. Many politicians of the world have fallen down in that way. Such downfalls only constitute more causes for lamentation. Therefore, if we want to curb lamentation for good, then we have to take shelter of Krishna, as Arjuna is seeking to do. So Arjuna asked Krishna to solve his problems definitely, and that is the way of Krishna consciousness. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chatsur Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhiskam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Ditam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Nitamscha. Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desakarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Arjuna is speaking words of wisdom here. Of course, the previous verse, which is maybe much more well known, is where Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, and Arjuna is admitting his own defects, his miserly weakness, in other words, his attachment to the material things. But now Arjuna is saying that he understands that even if he wins a kingdom, even if he gets a great kingdom on earth, with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven, in other words, a huge kingdom with so much opulence, it's not going to solve his problem. The problems will still be there. So the problem is not economic. It's not the economic problem. There are so many different causes which could be problems, but Arjuna's real problem is he needs to be guided. He needs the guidance, he needs the help of Lord Krishna. His knowledge was not solving his problems. And Arjuna did have a lot of knowledge. He was well versed in many philosophies. He'd heard, he'd studied a lot. But it couldn't help, it couldn't solve his problems. So Srila Prabhupada identifies the real problem is that he needs the help of the spiritual teacher. And that's why the previous verse, this is number 8 I read, but number 7 was where Arjuna says, Shishyasteham sadimam tvam prapanam. That now I'm your shiksha, I'm surrendered to you, I want you to instruct me. And so this is very important, that Arjuna understands that his problems are not material. Often we think, people often in material life, they're thinking, well, if I get money, all my problems will be solved. But you can see Arjuna doesn't think like that. He said, even if I win the kingdom, a great unrivaled kingdom, it's not going to solve, it's not going to take away my grief. The unhappiness which he's feeling, the problems which come in the material world, problems between family members, that can often, it's a common problem, and even friends working together, problems, getting along. Even devotees have problems, right? Devotees, something, they can't work with each other. It's so difficult sometimes for people to work together, to put aside their bodily concepts of life and just come together and work together. I have some devotees I'm working with in Europe, and their problems just getting along with each other. And just the other day I had a call with someone in Malaysia, and the devotee there was telling me about the problem there, and they'd done a retreat on chanting the holy name. The devotees had all done a retreat for several days. And the conclusion after the several days of chanting, conclusion was, you all need to work together. You need to put aside your differences and just come together, work together peacefully. So this is a problem in Bhagavad Gita also. Kauravas and Pandavas, two sides, right? Friction. Material world, just like that. Sometimes it's the demigods and the demons, right? And Lord Krishna gets accused. You're partial. You helped the demigods. You didn't help the demon. There's so many problems. Even Lord Krishna gets problems, you see. I thought problems are going to be there, but we have to know how to deal with them. Lord Krishna, of course, he can deal with his problems. So, Arjuna, he's fortunate, he's taken shelter of Lord Krishna to solve his problems. Of course, the problems have to be spiritual. Sometimes people come and they expect the spiritual teacher to solve their foolish problems, you know. Prabhupada was on the train. He was on the train one time, and some men were coming trying to see Prabhupada. They wanted to get to see Prabhupada. So somehow they managed to get past Prabhupada's secretary, and they slipped into Prabhupada's compartment. And then Prabhupada saw them and said, yes, what do you want? And they, oh Swamiji, we have come, we want your blessings. So Prabhupada said, oh, what blessings is that? And people often like that, you know, want blessings. So the two men, the first man said, well, my problem is that I have a back problem, you know, can you bless me, you know, and cure my back? And then the other man said, oh, I have the problem with my family, you know, I need to get my children married, can you help me, you know? And Prabhupada said, yeah, I will give you blessings. He said, I bless you that you can be like this brahmachari, that you can shave your head and you can have the nice saffron dhoti and you can be a brahmachari. And the two men ran away, of course. Nobody wants that blessing nowadays, you know, very, very rare. But in Prabhupada's time, there were many young men, they were attractive. They thought it was really nice. So, Arjuna, he has also problems. His problem on the middle of the battlefield, what to do. His problem is, should I take part in the battle or not? He was thinking, actually, I shouldn't. And he had a lot of reasons why he didn't want to fight. Compassion, Prabhupada mentioned some of the principles of religion and moral codes. Arjuna was thinking, I should be compassionate, I should be kind. Should he be compassionate? Well, not on the battlefield, really. It's not the best place to be compassionate. Arjuna is also not a Brahmana. Compassion is the quality of the Brahmana. Arjuna is not really a Brahmana. He's a devotee, but he's not a... Compassion is what you would expect from a Brahmana, but not from Kshatriyas. And so anyway, Arjuna was thinking, I should be compassionate. Arjuna was also worried about sinful reactions. If I'm going to fight, I will kill people, I'll get sinful reactions. So that was one of Arjuna's reasons why he didn't want to fight. Devotees, we're also cautious about what we do. We don't want to get sinful reactions. We're careful about doing anything which is against the scriptures. We just like when we take initiation, we make vows to avoid sinful activities. So it's a serious business. We make a vow. We have to keep these vows. Very important. So Arjuna, he didn't want to get sinful reactions, naturally. Jayapataka Swami was giving initiation one time, and he said to another devotee, "Are you going to recommend these people for initiation?" And then he said, "If you recommend them, you have to agree to take half the karma." So then, no, I don't want to. They changed their mind. Some people, we don't like to take karma. So Arjuna is also worried. He didn't want sinful reactions. So devotees, we try to avoid sinful activities. How to avoid sinful activities? Simply by engaging in Krishna's service, by dedicating everything to the service of Krishna. Arjuna also didn't want to fight because he thought, I won't enjoy the kingdom. If I have to fight and kill everyone, I won't be able to enjoy it after that. That was another error on the part of Arjuna. And Lord Krishna enlightened him, and he told him that, and he said, no, if you fight, he said, if you fight and win the battle, well, you will enjoy the kingdom. And if you lose the battle, well, you die on the battlefield. Right? The Kshatriyas, they don't go home defeated. They'll die on the battlefield. But when you're killed on the battlefield, you go to heaven. So you enjoy. You'll be able to go to heaven. Even you lose the battle, you will go to heaven and you can enjoy in the heavenly kingdom. So in this way, Lord Krishna was defeating the arguments of Arjuna, why he didn't want to fight. Arjuna was thinking, this grief is drying up my senses. There's a painful situation, you feel so sorry, you feel so unhappy, and it dries up the senses. And the senses lose you have no even desire to enjoy anymore, because you're so miserable, you're so unhappy. And Arjuna thinks, even if I get a kingdom, it won't take away my grief. It won't solve my problems. We have to understand how to solve the problem. First, we have to recognize what is the problem. And Prabhupada explains the real problem is that we have a material body. We have a material body and we're subject to old age, disease and death. We're subject to take birth also, take birth again. We're in the material world. Just taking a material body means there will be problems. How to avoid these problems? Get rid of the material body. And so, of course, sometimes crazy people think suicide is the answer. But suicide is not the answer, because you end up with a subtle body. You end up with a subtle body, and you have no opportunity to enjoy the senses anymore. Become like a ghost. So that keeps you in the material world. At one point, Sanatana Goswami was thinking also to commit suicide. His body was all sores. He'd come through the forest on his way to Jagannath Puri, and he developed skin infection, a lot of sores all over his body, and the sores were weeping poison. But Lord Chaitanya would come, and Lord Chaitanya would come and embrace Sanatan. And Sanatan felt so bad, he didn't like Lord Chaitanya coming and touching his body. But Lord Chaitanya would insist every day he would come to see Sanatan. Sanatan was staying on the beach with Haridas, because Sanatan had taken up service from the Muslims, so he was not considered eligible to go into the Puri temple anymore. So he was staying on the beach with Haridas, and he was in this condition where his body is all sores, but Lord Chaitanya is coming and embracing him. So Sanatan was feeling so guilty that my body is so contaminated, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, and he's touching my filthy body. He said, this is terrible. And Sanatan thought, I know, I will commit suicide. When the Rath Yatra comes, I will throw myself under the chariot, under the wheels of the chariot. But Lord Chaitanya is omniscient, and he told Sanatan, you don't get liberation just by committing suicide. That's not the answer to your problem. Lord Chaitanya said, if I thought I could get liberation, I would have committed suicide myself. But nobody ever solves the problem by suicide. And then Lord Chaitanya went on to explain, he said, just like a mother takes pleasure in nursing her child, even though the child may be contaminated, they may have passed stool and so on, but still the mother takes pleasure in holding her child and nursing the child. So he said the same way, he said, you're just like my child. He said, I take pleasure in embracing you. And then Lord Chaitanya revealed, he cured Sanatan from his disease. By his potency, he could take away the disease from the body of Sanatan. So the problems of life are there in the material world, and we don't solve them by just simply economic means. We think, well, some people think, I get money, I can solve all my problems. Some people think, maybe I need to emigrate, go some other country, like that. They think we can get away from problems, you know. People, we try to run away from the problems. But actually, wherever you go, the problems will be there. Just like you go to the mountains, you take your mind with you. Wherever you go, your mind is going to go with you. It's not going to leave you. The same mind, and the karma is also there. We have our karma, it's going to go with us. Of course, if we take up devotional service, then that can change, that can remove all the karma. That is the solution to get rid of the suffering which we're going through, the karma. It can all be removed simply by devotion, by surrendering ourselves. So Prabhupada is making this point here in the verse. He's talking that it's you have to approach Krishna or Krishna's representative. And Prabhupada quotes the verse which is spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met with Ramananda Rai. Just last week we celebrated the disappearance of Ramananda Rai. So Ramananda Rai was an intimate associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya met him on the banks of the Godavari, Rajamandri. Have you ever been to Rajamandri? Did you go to Rajamandri? Rajamandri, there's a nice temple there, ISKCON. They have a temple at Rajamandri. And on the other side of the Godavari is the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met with Ramananda Rai. And there's a Gaudiya Math temple there. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada also went there. And anyway, Lord Chaitanya met with Ramananda Rai. Lord Chaitanya had been told by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when you go south, there's a great devotee there. Lord Chaitanya was saying, I want to go to South India, I'm going to find out what happened to my brother. And the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told him, when you go to south, you can meet Ramananda Rai. He's a very special devotee. and he knows all the mellows of devotional self. He knows all the different rasas. He understands the science of rasa perfectly. He understands everything about the mood of devotional service. And he can explain it all according to Shastra. So Lord Chaitanya was impressed, and when he went, he was at the Godavari, he was taking bath, and what happens? A procession comes. And who's heading the procession? Ramananda Rai. So Providence arranged that the two met just by chance. Mahaprabhu was just with his servant, and then Ramananda Rai comes with a big entourage, and he came also to take bath. Right? Those days there was no running water, no no taps and things. Everybody just go to the river and take bath. We could in Dubai. We could go to the sea, right? And go to this. Lord Chaitanya, when he was in Puri, he would go to the sea and take bath every day. Nice to go bathe in the sea. Of course, the sea. When you bathe in the sea, then you get the salt water. I don't know how Mahaprabhu managed. He would go 3 times a day to the sea and bathe there. The sannyasis have to take bath 3 times a day. The brahmacharis bathe 1 time, grihasthas twice, and sannyasis supposed to bathe 3 times a day. And Mahaprabhu every day, 3 times a day, he'd go and bathe in the sea. So your body would get quite infected with all the salt water. And he's very transcendental. He doesn't get affected. I heard also he didn't have to shave his head. He shaved his head 1 time when he took sannyas. After that his hair didn't grow anymore. He never shaved his head. This Janani Bastam. Anyway, Lord Chaitanya is very transcendental. So he met Ramananda Rai, and when the two of them met, then Lord Chaitanya put questions to Ramananda Rai. He said, tell me this, what is the greatest pain, what's the greatest misery, what is the greatest pleasure? Like, he was asking so many questions to Ramananda Rai. And Ramananda Rai said, wait. He said, you're a sannyasi and you're born in the Brahmana family. He said, I am not. Ramananda Rai said, I'm from a low-class family and I'm not a sannyasi, I'm not like you. He said, I'm supposed to put questions to you. But Lord Chaitanya said, no. And the verse is quoted here. All right? Kiva vipra, kiva nasi sudra keni nai, ye Krishna tattva ved, say guru hai. Anyone can become the guru if they know the science of Krishna, if they know Krishna tattva. That's the important thing. It doesn't matter what position they're in socially. They may be in saffron robes or they may be in white robes. It doesn't matter. The color of the dress or the position, the place where they are in society, that doesn't matter. What is important is that they know the science of Krishna. So Prabhupada quotes this verse. It's very important. And then Prabhupada quotes this other verse from Padma Purana, that even one is a Brahmana, and you may be a scholarly Brahmana, expert in all the Vedic literatures, but if you're not a devotee, if you're not a Vaishnava, then you shouldn't become a spiritual teacher. So it's a heavy statement, it's from the Padma Purana. But in contrast, a person may be born in a low caste, but if he is Krishna conscious, if he is a devotee, if he is a Vaishnava, he can become a spiritual teacher. Actually, Lord Chaitanya gave the order to the Brahmana at Kurmadesh, right? And down from Vishakhapatnam. When you go to, north of Vishakhapatnam. From Puri, between Puri and Vishakhapatnam is Kurmashetra. Kurmashetra. Ramanujacharya got thrown out of Puri, right? Because he tried to change everything. And Lord Jagannath threw him out in the night and put him in Kurmakshetra. And Kurmakshetra, he woke up the morning and he wasn't in Puri anymore. He didn't know. In the middle of the night, Lord Jagannath moved him because he wanted to change all the worship of Lord Jagannath. But Lord Jagannath didn't want to change anything. So he took Ramanuja out, put him in Kurmakshetra. And he walked, where am I? And he thought, oh no, he didn't recognize the deity. At first he thought it was a deity of Lord Shiva. He thought, oh, I'm in a place where Lord Shiva should. But then he thought, oh no, it's not Lord Shiva, it's Lord Kurma. So he didn't feel so bad. At least it was Lord Vishnu, a Vishnu temple. And so he was there. So Ramanujacharya, Kurmakshetra, Lord Chaitanya went there after Ramanuja. Ramanuja was like 1,000 years ago more. The Lord Chaitanya is 500 years ago. Anyway, Lord Chaitanya came to Kurmakshetra and the Brahmana took him to his home, and the Brahmana wants to leave home and go with him. And Lord Chaitanya chastised him and said, no, this is wrong. He said, you have to stay here. He said, don't speak like that again. He said, Yari deki tari kaho Krishna upadesh. He said, wherever you go, whoever you meet, tell them about Krishna. Amara gaya guruhana tarai desh. Amara gaya, by my order, you become a guru and teach the world about Krishna. And so, of course, people say, well, that's diksha, that's not diksha, that's shiksha, giving. Either way, there's no difference. Everyone's instructed to become the guru and to teach about Krishna. Jayapataka Maharaj is always speaking about that. He said, we need thousands of acharyas. And Prabhupada said, we need thousands of spiritual teachers because so many more people becoming devotees. So all of you all have to become spiritual teachers, and you have to, in this way, distribute the Krishna conscious knowledge. And so devotees, they're all acharyas, they're all gurus. They're meant to give this message of Krishna to others. And that will solve all the problems of the world. Right? If we can give people Krishna consciousness, that can solve the real problem. We're making so much endeavor, economic development. We see here in Dubai, so much construction going on, building so many there's already so many buildings here. And they're building so many more buildings, you know. The desert is turning into the huge city, you know. Is it going to solve the problems of the world? No. Buildings, you know, doesn't solve the problem. The real problem is we need to hear and chant more. We need to become more Krishna conscious. It's not the economic problems. People want economic development, they want that for sense gratification. Right? That's the path of karma kanda. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. People in the beginning, they're very dharmic, they're very religious. And with the result of being dharmic, they get economic development. But with economic development, then they want sense gratification. And of course we're meant to then want liberation. We're meant to be frustrated with the sense gratification. The idea of enjoying material life didn't make me happy. Then we're meant to think about liberation. But today nobody thinks about liberation, and nobody thinks about being dharmic. They only think about artha and kama, economic development and sense gratification. So we have to give people the real knowledge, the real happiness. Prabhupada says here, real happiness you can get from Krishna, from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Bhagavad Gita. There you can get real happiness. So we want to try to make people happy. Where are the happy people? Devotees are happy. If we're in Krishna consciousness, we're happy. Prabhupada had the one servant, he was morose, you know. When someone's morose, you know, very miserable, not happy looking. And Prabhupada said, if you are morose, you are not in Krishna consciousness. So we have to come out of that morose. Why are we morose? Because we are thinking of the body. We're not thinking of the real self. We've forgotten our identity. We're simply thinking about our body and the things in relation to our body. Our home, our family, our relatives, our bank balance, all of these things. We get caught up in the bodily concept of life. And naturally think of these things, we'll be miserable. Nobody will be happy thinking about these things. But if we understand our spiritual identity, if we awaken our consciousness and understand our spiritual identity, then we can come to real happiness. We can experience increasing, ever increasing happiness. So Krishna consciousness is to make us happy, joyful souls. The nature of the soul is Anand, Satchit Anand. We are meant to be also blissful. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Right? Prasannatma, joyful soul. Why is he joyful? Because Brahma Bhuta, he's understood, I am Brahman, I'm not the body, I'm not this lump of flesh which is giving me so many troubles. This body is just made to give us trouble. Every part of the body just gives us so much, can give us so much trouble. You just hurt your foot, maybe one toe. Oh, and it's so agonious, it can be so painful. One finger gets infected, or you lose one finger, so much pain. So this to get pleasure from the body, it practically, where is the pleasure in the body? It's an illusion that we're getting any pleasure from the body. We're in illusion, we're thinking we're enjoying. But actually there's no pleasure in the body. We're just trying to overcome the suffering, trying to avoid the misery, trying to avoid the pain. That is what we think is happiness. That is not real happiness. So real happiness is awakened by spiritual practice, by self-realization, coming to know our real identity, which comes about when we practice the path of devotion, doing sadhana bhakti, regularly chanting and hearing, worshipping the Lord and decorating Him. You can see every time we come here, we see the deities so nicely decorated, so well cared for. They're so blissful. Lord Jagannath is always smiling. He's happy, enjoying. the service of his devotees. So this is happiness. There is happiness. But we're trying to find happiness in the wrong place. We're trying to find happiness from the body. Real happiness is with the soul, on the spiritual platform, in service to Krishna. So Arjuna, he's on the bodily platform at this point, but at the same time he's intelligent enough, and he does turn to Lord Krishna. He wants to be Krishna. He wants Lord Krishna to guide him. So we have to understand the nature of the material world. That wherever we go in this material world, there will be problems. We do some pious activities, we can enjoy for some time, but the results will finish and we come back again. Prabhupada talks about politicians, how they have fall downs. Devotees fall down. We're not the only ones who fall down. Other people also fall down. Politicians also fall down sometimes. They're supposed to be big men, the leaders of society, but they also get problems. Devotees also can fall down. Why do we fall down? We forget Krishna. When we forget Krishna, when we give up our sadhana, we're slack on our principles, then we fall down. Fall down means falling into Maya, forgetfulness of Krishna. Simply contemplating material, simply thinking about material world and the body and how to enjoy the body, that is the fall down. We want to conquer over that tendency to fall into Maya, and we do it by holding on to devotees. The association of devotees is very important. We know from Srimad Bhagavatam, Jad Bharat Maharaj, previously was Bharat Maharaj, and he'd gone to the Himalayas. He'd renounced everything. Great renunciate. Leave everything, go to Himalayas. And he went all the way up to Ganduki, where the Ganduki was. He was staying there. But he got attached to the deer. And next life he took birth as a deer. He had to take one birth as an animal in the Himalayas. Not very easy. So why did he fall down? How did he fall down? No association. Nobody was there to tell him. Nobody was there to, look, you're getting too attached to this animal. So association is very important. Sometimes it's painful, but it's very helpful to save us from spiritual fall down, to stay in the association. Sometimes people say about association with devotees, they say it's like chutney. If you cook, you know what a chutney is, right? When you cook chutney, it should be very sweet and very hot. So association with the devotees is like that. Very sweet, but can also be very hot. And sometimes, hot means not very pleasant, But it's so sweet, you can't resist it. But so hot, you can't stand it. So association, devotees, sometimes it's like that. We have to be tolerant. That's important. Learning to tolerate. Lord Chaitanya said, how tolerant? Like the tree, right? Put the verse on a thread, wear it round our necks, and adapi sunichaya. be tolerant like the tree, and amanina manadena kirtaniya. We want to chant the holy name. We have amanina manadena, offering all respects to others, not wanting any respect for ourselves. That is very helpful to develop humility. Humility is one of the qualities of surrender to Krishna, to be humble. And that humility comes about by offering respect to everyone. I was with Prabhupada one time in London. We went to a Hindu temple and they were worshipping Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. And Prabhupada said, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, he said, a devotee of Krishna not only offers respects to Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, a devotee of Krishna will offer respects. A devotee of Krishna will offer their respects even to the insects, because Krishna is in the heart of all living entities. So that is the kind of humility we want to try to cultivate. So Prabhupada said, if we want to curb lamentation for good, then we have to take shelter of Krishna. Just like Arjuna wants to do. Arjuna said, I am your disciple, please instruct me. So we want to get free of lamentation. Well, this is the solution. We have to just take shelter of Lord Krishna. We'll say, well, Arjuna, he was lucky, he had Krishna there with him. Where is Krishna today? You know, how am I going, who's going to give me shelter? Well, we have the Bhagavad Gita. Take the book, right? Take shelter of read the book and take shelter in the words of Lord Krishna. The same words which Krishna spoke to Arjuna are there in the Bhagavad Gita. You can read the Bhagavad Gita and you get a lot of shelter there. If we just read it and read it and read it again and again. This is very important for us. So we often think, why, I know that, I read the Bhagavad Gita, I read it. Read it again, and read it carefully, read every line carefully, and think about it, understand it. Very important for us. It's giving us shelter. But not only do we have the Bhagavad Gita, we have also the devotees, the association of devotees. And we have also the holy name of Krishna. We take shelter of the holy name because Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. Krishna comes as the holy name. So we take shelter of chanting the holy name. Kirtan is there. Have kirtan every day. Very important. Often people, they don't do much kirtan. You go to their home, they ring the bell, they do the puja, and never have any kirtan. But we need to do kirtan. Get the family which chants together can dance together and they can advance together. Right? And so it's important for us. Keep the family together, get them all to join the kirtan. So Krishna is here, Lord Jagannath is here. We like to give pleasure for them. They like to hear the kirtan. Krishna likes to hear. Right? Krishna, he's the deity. The deity hears. He doesn't only eat, right? The deity eats, yeah, we offer our food to the deity, but he also hears. He likes to hear spiritual, he likes to hear these discourses. Sometimes we will read Ramayana, sometimes we will read Mahabharata, we can read Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. The deities like to hear. they take pleasure. So we recite these different things. Just today Prabhu's little daughter was reciting to me so many slokas she learned from their teacher. Very nice slokas, so many. So I didn't even know all the slokas she was. I don't know where. Very good. One was about Bhishma departing on the battlefield. So nice. This is Krishna consciousness, reciting slokas, chanting, and helping each other to remember Krishna. And then that way we can overcome all the lamentation and the anxiety of the material world. All of the anxiety, the problem, they're in the mind. But if we take shelter of spiritual sound and hear from Krishna, hear from the devotees, then we can be freed from that bodily conception of life. So this is Prabhupada's advice. Arjuna asked Krishna to solve his problems. That is the way of Krishna consciousness, right? We have to ask Krishna, solve my problems. It's a nice thing to know, right? Krishna's there in our heart. He's hearing us. He's speaking to us also. Are we hearing him? Sometimes Krishna is speaking, telling us, you have to chant more. You have to wake up, Prabhu. You have to get up and chant the holy name. You have to read the books. Krishna is telling us, he's reminding us different things. We can also speak to Krishna. It's not just Krishna speaking to us, but we can also speak to Krishna. Oh Krishna, help me. They asked one devotee, what does the Maha Mantra mean? He said, we're asking Krishna to help us. When we chant Hare Krishna, you can think like that we're asking Krishna, oh Krishna, help me get out of this lamentation or this ignorance which is making me miserable, making me morose. This is very important for us. So we encourage all of you in this way. Communicate with Krishna. Chanting is our communication. Golokera Premadan. The holy name comes from Goloka. So we take the shelter of that holy name. Take the opportunity to chant and to be with Krishna. And we want, if we're with Krishna here, at the end of life we'll be able to go back to be with Krishna there. That you get the result. Antakale chamameva smaranmeva. Right? If we remember Krishna, we have to practice now remembering Krishna. And then at the end of life it will be very easy for us to go back to be with Krishna. Okay, any questions? Any comment? Anything? Yes? Hare Krishna. Okay. Yes?
Padma Purana says that only Vaishnava can become Guru.
Yes.
But in India we see thousands of Gurus who are not Vaishnavas. So are they not?
Well, they're not Vaishnava Gurus. right? So I don't know where they're going to take the disciple. We don't know what will be the result of their teaching. But according to Padma Purana, they're not really qualified. Yeah, there's so many others there. Just like Bhagavad Gitas. There's so many Bhagavad Gitas, but they're not as it is. Right? So the same way you've got gurus, but they're not guru as it is. They're not the genuine edition of, because they're giving something else. They're not giving Krishna, they're giving themselves. The business of the guru is to give Krishna. But they're not giving Krishna, they give themselves. So it's a different, whole different mood. Yeah, there's many so-called teachers, spiritual people, in the spiritual line, and they all have their different ideas. So we have to understand who is authorized, who's actually authorized. Just like you want doctor, you want the doctor who's authorized, right? They should have studied, they should be trained. You don't go to just anybody, oh, I'm a doctor, I learned myself. You know, I've done my own research and I've got my own medical. You'll be taking a risk. You want somebody who is authorized. What's their authority? So there should be authority, parampara, right? Who was your guru? Who was your guru? Who trained you? You know, of course. Impersonalists, they also have their parampara, you know, but it's a different thing. But that's one thing, that you want to know what is their authority. You're the guru. First of all, what is a guru? What is guru? Guru means to destroy darkness, to take away the ignorance. So people go looking for a guru, they don't know really what is a guru. They don't know. And if somebody says, I'm looking for a guru, and you ask them, well, what is a guru? What is your and they say, I don't know. So how will they find a guru if they don't know what a guru is? They'll be cheated. Just like if you go to buy gold and you don't know what gold is, then you can be cheated. So people go looking for a spiritual teacher, and they don't know what is the qualification, then they're easily misled, easily cheated. So we're trying to educate people, we try to distribute books, tell people what is the guru, what is actually qualification of a guru, who can be a guru. So Prabhupada quotes here from Padma Purana. Padma Purana means Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is written like that. You know, Vyasadeva, he learned from his guru. Vyasadeva had a guru, Narad. Narad has his guru, Brahma. And Brahma has his guru, Krishna. So Krishna is also, he's the original guru. So there's parampara. So guru, somebody's actually, they have to be educated, they have to first be a student. First you have to be a student, you have to be trained. Then you can go on and become the guru. And we have to hear what do they say. What are they speaking about? You get some people that gurus, I don't need any shastra. Huh? What kind of guru is this? He doesn't want any shastra. He's just presenting his own philosophy. So there's big people like that. They've got so many followers, but they don't have any shastra. So that's a defect. We say sadhu, shastra and guru. The three should be there. And just like Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna also quotes shastra. And sadhus. Arjuna said, I accept Krishna, not only do I accept Krishna, but also Asita, Devala, Narada, Vyasa, they all accept Krishna. So sadhus also, not just only Arjuna, but so many others also accept Krishna. So we're speaking these things. People don't like. Not everybody is willing to hear. They don't like to hear this. Oh, why are you criticizing? No, we're just telling you the truth. This is what the Shastras say. Okay. Whose birthday is it? Oh, really?
Maharaj, last time you came, he was a bachelor. Now he's married. That's his wife.
Yeah. Very nice. Hare Krishna. Today's your birthday? Oh, really? Oh, so nice. So you have to cut the cake. No, it's for you to cut. Not my birthday.
Hare Krishna.